First contact. The sleek, silver spacecraft hovered silently above the nondescript field in rural Iowa, its smooth surface reflecting the warm glow of the setting sun. Inside, researcher Zix of the Galactic Scientific Council felt a rare twinge of anticipation. After cycles of study and preparation, he was about to set foot on the primitive planet known as Earth. Zix's long, slender fingers danced across the control panel, initiating the landing sequence. As the ship descended, he reviewed his mission parameters one last time. Observe the humans, study their culture, and most importantly, investigate their mysterious and seemingly inefficient method of reproduction. The Council was particularly interested in how such a chaotic species had managed to achieve space travel despite their biological limitations. With a soft hiss, the ship's hatch opened, and Zix emerged into the cool evening air. His large, luminous eyes blinked rapidly, adjusting to the unfamiliar atmosphere. The alien researcher stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin and a slender, graceful build. A shimmering, translucent membrane covered his hairless head, pulsing gently with neural activity. As Zix took his first steps on Earth, he activated his universal translator and sensory recording devices. The air was thick with unfamiliar scents, and the cacophony of insects and distant animal calls assaulted his sensitive hearing. How did humans manage to think clearly in such a noisy environment? A distant rumbling caught his attention, and Zix turned to see a vehicle approaching. The headlights cut through the growing darkness, illuminating a cloud of dust in its wake. As it drew closer, Zix recognized it as one of the primitive combustion engine automobiles he had studied in preparation for this mission. The vehicle came to a stop a short distance away, and a figure emerged. Zix's eyes widened as he took in the appearance of his first human. She was shorter than him, with dark hair pulled back into a neat bun and warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners as she smiled. Her skin was a rich bronze color, so different from Zix's own blue hue. "Welcome to Earth, researcher Zix," the human said, her voice clear and confident. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, your liaison from the International Scientific Cooperation Agency. It's an honor to be the first to greet you." Zix inclined his head in the formal greeting of his people. "Greetings, Dr. Chen. I am grateful for your welcome and look forward to our collaboration." Dr. Chen's smile widened. "Please call me Sarah. We're much less formal here on Earth. I hope you'll find us friendly, if a bit chaotic at times." Zix nodded, making a mental note of this cultural difference. "Very well, Sarah. I must admit, I find your planet quite overwhelming to my senses already." Sarah chuckled. "I can imagine. Why don't we head to the research facility? We've prepared comfortable quarters for you, and I'm sure you'd like to rest after your long journey." As they drove through the darkening countryside, Zix peppered Sarah with questions about everything he saw. The trees, the farmhouses, the occasional animal that darted across the road, all of it was new and fascinating to the alien researcher. "Sarah," Zix said after a moment of silence, "I must ask, how do you humans manage to accomplish anything with all these distractions? The constant stimuli, the emotions that seem to govern your actions, it's all so inefficient." Sarah glanced at him, her expression thoughtful. "That's an interesting perspective, Zix. I suppose we've evolved to thrive in this environment. Our emotions, while sometimes challenging, also drive us to great achievements. They fuel our creativity, our passion for discovery." Zix's neural membrane pulsed with increased activity as he processed this information. "Fascinating. On my world, we've long since moved beyond such primitive drives. Our reproduction, for example, is a purely clinical process designed for optimal genetic combination without the messiness of physical contact." Sarah's eyes widened, and she seemed to struggle for a moment to find the right words. "Well, that's certainly different from how we do things here on Earth. Our method of reproduction is, quite central to our culture and relationships." Zix leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "Yes, This is one of the primary areas of my research. Your species seems inordinately preoccupied with the act of reproduction. It influences your art, your literature, your social structures. Most puzzling, Sarah's cheeks flushed a deep red, a physiological response Zix noted with interest. Well, Zix, human sexuality and reproduction are complex topics. They're not just about creating offspring. There's pleasure, emotional connection, and love involved. Love, Zix repeated, the unfamiliar word feeling strange in his mouth. I've encountered this concept in my studies, but I must admit, I find it most perplexing. How can an electrochemical reaction in the brain hold such sway over your species? Sarah laughed, a sound that Zix found oddly pleasant. Oh, Zix, I think you'll find that love is much more than a simple chemical reaction. But let's save that discussion for another time. We're almost at the research facility. As they pulled up to a large, modern building nestled in a wooded area, Zix felt a flutter of excitement. Here, he would begin his in-depth study of humanity. He would unravel the mysteries of their reproduction, their emotions, and this strange concept of love. Little did Zix know that his time on Earth would challenge everything he thought he knew about life, connection, and even himself. As he stepped out of the vehicle and followed Sarah into the facility, the alien researcher was blissfully unaware that he was about to embark on a journey that would not only change his understanding of humanity, but also transform him in ways he could never have imagined. The automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing a brightly lit atrium filled with lush plants and bubbling water features. Zix paused, his sensory organs overwhelmed by the sudden influx of stimuli. The air was thick with the scent of growing things, so different from the sterile environments he was accustomed to. Welcome to the International Xenobiology Research Center, Sarah said, gesturing around them. We've tried to create an environment that's comfortable for a variety of species. I hope you'll find it suitable. Zix nodded, his neural membrane pulsing rapidly as he took in every detail. It is most impressive, Sarah. Though I must admit, the abundance of organic matter is somewhat disconcerting. Sarah chuckled. I'm sure you'll get used to it. Now, let me show you to your quarters. Tomorrow, we'll begin your orientation and set up your research protocols. As they walked through the corridors, Zix noticed other humans stopping to stare at him. Some smiled and waved, while others quickly averted their gaze when he looked their way. The diversity of reactions fascinated him. Sarah, he said quietly, I notice that some humans seem pleased to see me, while others appear uncomfortable. Is my presence causing distress? Sarah shook her head. Not at all, Zix. Humans are just naturally curious. For many of them, you're the first extraterrestrial they've seen in person. Some are excited, others might be a bit nervous. It's all part of our emotional spectrum. Zix filed this information away for further analysis. The complexity of human emotions continued to baffle him. They reached a door at the end of a hallway, and Sarah pressed her hand to a biometric scanner. The door slid open, revealing a spacious room with large windows overlooking a forested area. These will be your quarters during your stay, Sarah explained. We've tried to accommodate what we know of your species' needs, but please let us know if you require any adjustments. Zix stepped inside, his gaze sweeping over the minimalist furnishings and the advanced computer terminal in one corner. This will be more than adequate, Sarah. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. Sarah smiled. Excellent. I'll leave you to rest now. Tomorrow morning, I'll come to escort you to the main research lab where you can begin your studies. As Sarah turned to leave, Zix felt a strange impulse. Sarah, he called out, causing her to pause in the doorway. I look forward to working with you and learning more about your species. Sarah's smile widened, her eyes crinkling at the corners in a way that Zix found oddly captivating. I look forward to it too, Zix. Sleep well. As the door closed behind her, Zix stood motionless for a moment, processing the events of the day. He had expected his arrival on Earth to be the start of a straightforward scientific mission. Instead, he found himself grappling with a myriad of new sensations and concepts. He moved to the window, gazing out at the dark forest beyond. Somewhere out there, humans were going about their lives, laughing, crying, loving, experiencing a range of emotions that Zix could scarcely comprehend. For the first time in his life, he felt a twinge of something unfamiliar. Was it curiosity, excitement, or perhaps longing? Shaking off the unsettling thought, Zix turned to the computer terminal. He had work to do. As he began logging his initial observations, he couldn't help but feel that his time on Earth would be far more challenging and far more transformative than he had ever anticipated. The reproduction revelation. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, Zix found himself standing in front of a peculiar Earth structure, a shopping mall. The massive building, with its gleaming glass facades and colorful advertisements, seemed to epitomize the chaotic nature of human society that both puzzled and fascinated him. "Welcome to the epicenter of human social interaction," Sarah said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "I thought this would be an excellent place for you to observe a wide range of human behaviors, including some related to reproduction." Zix's neural membrane pulsed with excitement. Intriguing. Do humans engage in reproductive activities in public spaces? Sarah's eyes widened, and she let out a surprised laugh. "Oh no, not exactly. But you'll see a lot of social behaviors that are indirectly related to our, mating habits." As they entered the mall, Zix was immediately overwhelmed by the sensory assault. The cacophony of human voices, the pulsing music from various stores, and the myriad of scents from food courts and perfume counters made his head spin. "Sarah," Zix said, his voice tinged with confusion, "I don't understand. How is this environment conducive to reproduction? The noise levels alone seem detrimental to any biological processes." Sarah chuckled, guiding him towards a bustling clothing store. "It's not about the act itself, Zix. Humans often come to places like this to make themselves more attractive to potential mates. Watch." Zix observed as humans of various ages and genders sifted through racks of clothing, holding items up to themselves and scrutinizing their reflections in mirrors. He noticed a young man spraying himself with a pungent liquid from a glass bottle. "What is that human doing?" Zix asked, his nose wrinkling at the strong scent. "He's applying cologne," Sarah explained. "It's a scented liquid that many humans use to make themselves smell more appealing to potential partners." Zix's membrane pulsed rapidly. Fascinating. So humans use artificial scents to mimic pheromones. How delightfully primitive. As they continued through the mall, Zix's curiosity grew. He observed humans engaged in various courtship rituals, holding hands, sharing food, and exchanging small tokens purchased from the myriad of stores. "Sarah," Zix said, his voice filled with wonder, "I've never seen anything like this. On my world, mate selection is a purely logical process based on genetic compatibility. But here, it seems so random, so emotionally driven." Sarah smiled softly. "It might seem random, but there's a beautiful complexity to it. Humans form connections based on shared interests, emotional compatibility, and yes, physical attraction too." As they passed a store with large pink hearts in the window, Zix stopped abruptly. "Sarah, what is the purpose of that symbology? I've seen it repeated throughout this facility." "Ah," Sarah said, a hint of mischief in her eyes. "That's a heart. It's a symbol humans often use to represent love and romance." Zix tilted his head, puzzled. "But it bears no resemblance to the actual human cardiac organ. How curious that you would use such an inaccurate representation for something you claim is so important." Sarah laughed, the sound drawing curious glances from passers-by. "Oh, Zix, you have so much to learn about human symbolism and metaphor." As they continued their tour, Zix found himself increasingly captivated by the complex dance of human social interactions. He observed couples sharing intimate moments, friends laughing together, and families navigating the crowded spaces with a chaotic yet coordinated efficiency. Suddenly, A commotion near the center of the mall caught their attention. A young man was down on one knee in front of a woman, holding out a small box. A crowd had gathered around them, many holding up devices to record the event. "Sarah," Zix whispered urgently, "is that human injured? Should we offer assistance?" Sarah's eyes were shining with emotion, a reaction Zix found puzzling. "No, Zix. We're witnessing something very special. That man is proposing marriage to the woman." Zix watched in fascination as the woman's eyes filled with tears. She nodded vigorously, and the man slipped a shiny object onto her finger. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. "I don't understand," Zix said, his voice filled with genuine confusion. "Why are they crying? Why is everyone so excited about this exchange of jewelry?" Sarah placed a hand on Zix's arm, a gesture he had come to recognize as a sign of companionship. "Those are tears of joy, Zix. That couple just made a public commitment to spend their lives together. It's a celebration of love." As they left the mall, Zix's mind was reeling with new information and unanswered questions. The complexity of human mating rituals and social bonds was far beyond anything he had anticipated. "Sarah," he said as they got into her vehicle, "I believe I may need to significantly extend the duration of my research mission. There is so much more to learn about human reproduction and relationships than I ever imagined." Sarah smiled warmly. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Zix, and who knows? You might find yourself experiencing some of these human emotions firsthand before your mission is over." As they drove back to the research center, Zix pondered Sarah's words. The idea of experiencing human emotions himself was both thrilling and terrifying. Little did he know that his journey into the heart of human experience was only just beginning, and the greatest revelations were yet to come: the viral invasion. Zix stared at the small rectangular device in his hand, his large eyes reflecting the glow of its screen. "Sarah, you say this smartphone is the key to understanding modern human reproduction rituals." Sarah nodded, suppressing a smile. "In a way, yes. Social media and dating apps have revolutionized how humans connect and form relationships. I thought it would be a good idea for you to create some accounts and experience it firsthand." Little did either of them know that Zix's foray into social media would soon turn their quiet research project into a global sensation. "First," Sarah explained, "let's set up your TikTok account. It's all about short, engaging videos. People share everything from dances to life hacks to, well, mating calls, I suppose you could say." Zix's neural membrane pulsed with excitement. "Fascinating. Shall I perform a traditional Zen mating dance for my first TikTok?" Before Sarah could stop him, Zix had propped up the phone and begun an elaborate series of movements. His lanky blue form twisted and undulated, his iridescent skin catching the light in hypnotic patterns. Sarah watched in horror and fascination as Zix completed his dance with a high-pitched trill that made the windows rattle. "There," Zix said proudly, picking up the phone. "I've added the caption Alien Reproduction Dance Challenge. Is this correct?" Sarah groaned, burying her face in her hands. "Oh no, Zix, that's not quite what I—" She was interrupted by a series of rapid pings from the phone. Zix's eyes widened. "Sarah, the device is making noise. Have I broken it?" "No," Sarah said, peeking through her fingers at the screen. "Those are notifications. People are reacting to your video." Within hours, Zix's Alien Reproduction Dance Challenge had gone viral. Millions of views poured in, along with countless imitations. Humans around the world were attempting to recreate Zix's bizarre movements, often with hilarious results. As Zix scrolled through the comments, his confusion grew. "Sarah, why are humans responding with small pictographs of water droplets and eggplants? I don't understand the correlation to my mating dance." Sarah's face turned a deep shade of red. Let's just say those are symbols of appreciation, Zix. Maybe we should move on to another platform." But it was too late. Zix had become an overnight sensation. News outlets picked up the story, and soon the avian researcher found himself inundated with interview requests. Greetings, Earth beings, Zix said, waving at the camera during a live television interview. I am here to study your reproduction methods. Please tell me about your Netflix and chill ritual. Is it an important part of your mating process? The host nearly choked on his water, while the studio audience erupted in laughter. Clips of Zix's innocent questions about human dating and mating practices spread across the internet like wildfire. Back at the research facility, Sarah tried desperately to maintain some semblance of scientific decorum. Zix, maybe we should focus on more traditional research methods for a while. But Zix was too enthralled by his new role as a social media influencer. He had moved on to Instagram, where his attempts to understand human attraction led to a series of increasingly absurd posts. Humans, Zix proclaimed in one video, his blue face uncomfortably close to the camera. I have observed that many of you enhance your appearance with makeup. I have attempted to replicate this practice. Please rate my attractiveness. The image that followed showed Zix with neon green lipstick smeared across his face, glittery eyeshadow covering half his head, and blush applied in perfect circles on his cheeks. The internet, predictably, went wild. Hashtags like #Alien Makeover Challenge and #DateAnAlien began trending worldwide. Humans everywhere were painting themselves blue and attempting to recreate Zix's unique appearance. As Zix's follower counts skyrocketed, Sarah realized that their quiet research project had spiraled completely out of control. Zix, she said, trying to keep her voice calm, I think we need to have a serious discussion about the direction of your research. Zix looked up from his phone, his eyes wide with excitement. Oh, Sarah, I just had the most wonderful idea for a new challenge. Humans seem very interested in what they call dad bods. I thought perhaps I could start a Xanon dad bod trend. What do you think? Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but before she could speak, Zix had already unbuttoned his shirt and was posing for the camera, his slender blue torso a far cry from the dad bod ideal. As the photo uploaded, Sarah's phone began to buzz incessantly. She looked down to see a message from her superiors. Emergency meeting. No. Sarah sighed, watching as Zix gleefully scrolled through the rapidly accumulating likes and comments on his latest post. She had set out to teach an alien about human reproduction and relationships. Instead, she had inadvertently turned him into the world's most unlikely sex symbol and social media sensation. As they headed to the emergency meeting, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, how could she possibly explain to her superiors that their alien visitor had become a viral sensation by attempting to understand human mating rituals? And more importantly, how would this unexpected turn of events affect Zix's mission and his growing understanding of human emotions? Little did Sarah know, Zix's journey into the heart of human culture was about to take an even more unexpected turn, one that would challenge everything both of them thought they knew about love, connection, and what it truly means to be human. The alien Bachelor. The emergency meeting had not gone well. Sarah sat across from Zix in her office, massaging her temples as she tried to process the bizarre turn of events. Let me get this straight, she said, her voice a mix of disbelief and resignation. The International Xenobiology Research Center has partnered with a major streaming service to create The Alien Bachelor. Zix's neural membrane pulsed with excitement. Yes, Sarah, isn't it wonderful? They assure me it's the perfect way to study human mating rituals up close. 20 human females will compete for my affection, and I'll learn all about Earth's courtship practices. Sarah groaned. Zix, reality TV isn't exactly reality. It's more like a hyper-exaggerated version of human behavior. But there was no stopping it now. Within days, production crews had descended upon the research center, transforming it into a glittering set worthy of the most dramatic reality show ever conceived. The premiere episode of The Alien Bachelor broke all streaming records. Millions tuned in to watch Zix, resplendent in a shimmering blue tuxedo, greet his 20 potential mates. Greetings, Earth females, Zix announced, his voice echoing through the elaborately decorated rose garden. I look forward to engaging in your human courtship rituals. Please dazzle me with your reproductive fitness. The contestants, a diverse group of women from around the world, exchanged bewildered glances. This was certainly not the typical reality show opener they had expected. As the weeks progressed, Zix's unique approach to dating captivated audiences worldwide. His literal interpretations of human idioms and dating advice led to hilariously awkward moments that set social media ablaze. During one dinner date, Zix leaned in close to his companion and whispered, "I've been advised that the way to a human's heart is through their stomach. Shall I perform surgery now, or would you prefer to wait until after dessert?" The resulting meme of Zix holding a steak knife with the caption, "Alien loves surgery," trended for days. But it wasn't all laughs. As Zix spent more time with the contestants, he began to experience unfamiliar sensations. During a heartfelt conversation with Lily, a marine biologist with a passion for conservation, Zix felt an odd fluttering in his chest cavity. "Sarah," he confided later, his voice filled with concern, "I fear I may be malfunctioning. When Lily speaks of her love for Earth's oceans, my internal organs behave erratically. Should I seek medical attention?" Sarah smiled softly, realizing that Zix might be experiencing his first crush. "I think you're fine, Zix. In fact, you might be more human than you realize." As the show progressed, audiences were surprised to find themselves genuinely moved by Zix's journey. His innocent questions about love and his growing emotional awareness resonated with viewers in unexpected ways. The season finale was a global event. Fans around the world hosted alien Bachelor watch parties, complete with blue body paint and homemade tentacle headbands. In the end, Zix stood before Lily, his large eyes shimmering with emotion. "Lily," he said, his voice trembling slightly, "I have learned much about human love during this experience. It is not the inefficient, illogical process I once believed it to be. It is beautiful, powerful. I find I do not wish to part from you." Lily, tears streaming down her face, took Zix's hands in hers. "Oh, Zix," she said with a watery smile, "I never thought I'd fall in love with an alien, but here we are. You've shown me that love truly is universal." As Zix and Lily shared their first kiss, audiences around the world erupted in cheers. The hashtag alien love wins trended globally, and think pieces about the nature of love and the potential for interspecies relationships flooded the internet. Back at the research center, Sarah watched the finale with mixed emotions. On one hand, the show had been a PR nightmare for the scientific community. On the other, Zix had perhaps learned more about human emotions and relationships than any traditional research method could have taught him. As the credits rolled, Sarah's phone buzzed with a message from her superiors. "Ratings through the roof. Alien Bachelor Season 2 confirmed. Prepare for intergalactic dating edition." Sarah let out a long sigh. She had a feeling her job was about to get a lot more complicated. As she looked up, she saw Zix and Lily enter the room, hand in hand, both glowing with happiness. "Sarah," Zix exclaimed, his voice filled with joy. "Lily has agreed to participate in a traditional Zen and bonding ceremony. Will you help us plan it?" As Sarah nodded, a smile tugging at her lips despite herself, she realized that Zix's mission had evolved into something far greater than anyone could have anticipated. It had become a testament to the power of love to bridge even the vastest of differences. Little did they know, the upcoming Zen and human bonding ceremony would spark a galactic controversy that would challenge the very foundations of both their societies. But for now, in this moment, love, in all its messy, illogical, beautiful glory, had triumphed. Galactic viral sensation. The news of Zix and Lily's impending Zen and human bonding ceremony spread across the galaxy faster than a supernova. Earth's social media platforms nearly crashed under the weight of the hashtag Zen and human wedding, while intergalactic forums buzzed with heated debates about cross-species relationships. Sarah found herself at the center of a diplomatic storm. "Zix," she said, her voice strained as she scrolled through an endless stream of messages on her holographic display, "I don't think you understand. Your wedding has become the biggest galactic event since, well, first contact. Zix blinked his large eyes, his neural membrane pulsing with confusion. But Sarah, I thought humans loved destination weddings. Surely, a ceremony on Xenon Prime qualifies. Before Sarah could respond, a notification pinged on her device. She groaned. Oh no. No, Zix. Please tell me you didn't agree to a reality show about your wedding preparations. Zix's face lit up. Oh yes, it's called My Big Fat Xenon Wedding. The producers assure me it will be an excellent way to promote intergalactic understanding. Did you know they're developing a spin-off series called Xenomorphs Say Yes to the Dress? As the day of the ceremony approached, Earth became the epicenter of a galactic media frenzy. Alien tourists flooded in, eager to witness the historic event. Street vendors did a roaring trade in I-6 t-shirts and glow-in-the-dark Xenon bride tiaras. The wedding prep show became an overnight sensation. Viewers couldn't get enough of Zix's endearingly literal interpretations of Earth wedding traditions. I don't understand, Zix said, staring at a giant tiered cake. Why would Lily and I hide inside this dessert structure? And how will we cut our way out without ruining our attire? But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Conservative factions on both Earth and Xenon Prime protested the union. Earth's tabloids ran sensationalist headlines like Alien Love Nest. What really happens in Zix's bedroom? While Xenon politicians decried the emotional contamination of their species. The controversy came to a head when a group of anti-alien protesters crashed Zix and Lily's joint Bachelor-Bachelorette party. As tensions rose, Zix did the unthinkable. He started to cry. The footage of Zix's tears, his bioluminescent skin glowing with emotion, instantly went viral. The hashtag #AlienShareFeelingsToo trended worldwide, sparking a global conversation about empathy, acceptance, and the true nature of humanity. Overnight, public opinion shifted. Humans and aliens alike were moved by Zix's display of emotion. Even the staunchest critics couldn't deny the genuine love between the unlikely couple. As the big day arrived, billions of beings across the galaxy tuned in to watch. The ceremony was a beautiful blend of Earth and Xenon traditions. Lily, resplendent in a gown that seemed to shimmer between dimensions, walked down an aisle strewn with bioluminescent flowers. Zix, his blue skin adorned with intricate patterns of glowing pigment, waited for her beneath an arch of swirling nebula gas. The vows left not a dry eye or equivalent sensory organ in the house. Lily, Zix said, his voice trembling with emotion, "When I came to Earth, I sought to understand human reproduction. Instead, I discovered love. You have taught me that true connection transcends biology, transcends species. With you, I am home, no matter what planet we're on." Lily, tears streaming down her face, replied, "Zix, you've shown me that love is the most powerful force in the universe. It bridges galaxies, defies logic, and opens our hearts to infinite possibilities. I can't wait to explore the cosmos with you, my alien soulmate." As they sealed their union with a kiss, cheers erupted across the galaxy. The moment was so powerful that it caused a minor dimensional rift, briefly allowing beings from parallel universes to witness the ceremony. #MultiversalLove immediately began trending across all known dimensions. In the aftermath of the wedding, something remarkable happened. Inspired by Zix and Lily's love story, humans and aliens began to see each other in a new light. Interspecies cultural exchange programs flourished. Galactic peace talks, once stalled, resumed with newfound optimism. Sorrow watched it all unfold with a mixture of pride and amusement. What had started as a simple research mission had turned into a revolution of love and understanding. As Zix and Lily prepared to depart for their honeymoon, a tour of the universe's most romantically charged black holes, they stopped to say goodbye to Sarah. "We couldn't have done this without you," Lily said, enveloping Sarah in a hug. Zix nodded, his neural membrane pulsing with gratitude. "Indeed, Sarah, You have been instrumental in my understanding of human emotions. I believe the customary expression is, you rock. Sarah laughed, shaking her head. Just promise me one thing, she said, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Name your first hybrid baby after me, okay? As the newlyweds boarded their ship, waving to the cheering crowds, Sarah couldn't help but smile. In the end, Zix had done more than just study human reproduction. He had shown the entire galaxy the true power of love, a force more mysterious, more potent, and more universe-altering than any scientific discovery. And as for Sarah? Well, rumor had it that a dashing Andromedan diplomat had slid into her DMs, asking for tips on understanding human dating customs. But that, as they say, is a story for another intergalactic viral sensation. The universe, it seemed, would never be the same again. And all because one curious alien had dared to swipe right on the human experience.